Let me tell you a tale. It took place 360,000, no, 14,000 years ago. Well, to me it seems like only yesterday. To you, could be tomorrow. It's the story of a man, known by 72 different names. What should I call him? When we first met, his name was Enoch. And even then, he wouldn't let anyone tell him what to do. Not even me. But he was a pretty good guy.
Okay, so I wasn't going to do this video now, but I thought, what the hell, now's as good a time as any, I guess. So I've completed El Shaddai, and I just wanted to make a video on it, really. I'm going to wing this, because it's hard to sum this game up as it is, without trying to really think about it even more. Stunning, just absolutely stunning game. It's definitely one to be experienced. It's unique, it's unusual, it's brilliant, basically. So how can I go? Yeah, so it's basically it's a 2D, 3D platformer with hack and slash elements to it. You'll find yourself, as usual with platformers, you know, jumping and diving and double jumping and running through the levels from one platform to the other, avoiding pitfalls, avoiding objects, dangerous things, you know. As you do that, of course, the hack and slash element comes into play. You'll be hacking and slashing your way through the game, hammering away at enemies. It does, as you're going through the levels and you're jumping from place to place and what have you, you do get like enemies coming at you, but they're not necessarily, they're more like fodder to be brushed aside with your weapons. They're not actually, they don't pose too much of a threat, and that's just while you're going along. Then you'll get to like an area, and you can always tell these areas because they're quite wide. Once you get to that area, you normally kind of section that area off, and you just have this area as like a little kind of playing field or arena. And then you get all these enemies spawn, and they're the real kind of enemies that will pose a challenge to you. As you go through the game, they'll get harder and harder to kind of defeat, and you'll start off small, like you might get one enemy appear, you defeat that enemy, then another one will appear, and so on and so forth. But as you go through, you start getting multiple enemies, you know, appearing and coming at you all at once. You get different types of enemies, stronger enemies, enemies with different weapons, different abilities. So basically, as you progress through the game, things do get generally harder. But like I said, these enemies you kind of encounter within a certain area or arena. But these other enemies you will kind of encounter as you're going through, but they're just there to kind of push you off your perch into the pitfalls, if you know what I mean. They're not there to pose a challenge in a fighting sense. They're to be treated like obstacles in the platforming sense, as in they're trying to, like I said, knock you off your perch and push you into the pitfall. So with your weapons, you just kind of brush them aside. at the very end, of course, of each area, you'll fight boss fights. All these boss fights, you'll encounter the same bosses. At first, the bosses look the same because they all look like this particular boss, but they are actually different. They're just wearing like the same armor, but they have different names and everything. And as you kind of pluck that armor away, they'll kind of morph into bigger things, and they have different abilities, and as you go through the game again, the more powerful, and the more it takes to defeat him as well. What else can I say about this game? Yeah, the graphics. Obviously, the graphics are the most striking thing about this game. It's not. I'm not sure I can say this. It's not cell shaded graphics. I think it has more akin to. It's more akin to. What's that game? Prince of Persia. You know, the Prince of Persia reboot that we got on the 360 and PlayStation 3 a couple of years back, where it wasn't cel shaded graphics, but the graphics kind of looked unique. The graphics are similar to that, but I'd say in this game they're better, and also the graphics look a bit more like stuff like Res on the Dreamcast. You know, the graphics are just bloody amazing in this game, absolutely amazing, and yeah, just absolutely wonderful looking game. It isn't one of those games that's all like it's all showy and it's got all the graphics, but where the gameplay lacks. The gameplay is definitely there. It just has everything. It has the looks, it has the gameplay, and it has the story. So that kind of makes it, pretty standout. Okay, so the story of this game is basically it takes a lot from kind of where it's made by a Japanese developer, but it takes a lot from kind of the Old Testament. It has religion plays a very important part in this game. It's based on like the Old Testament, the old stories, the old myths, legends, tales, and it has a massive. It's massively influenced by the Old Testament, but it's not a game that says this is religion and I'm pushing it down your throat. It's nothing to do with that. It just has the influence of the Old Testament in there. The old Christian, Judo kind of Old Testament thing. Like I said, if you think about all the old stories, the myths, the legends, some of the characters and names and places, you'll find that kind of influence in this game. So, and obviously it has the whole fallen angels storyline going on, but if you remember that film a couple of years ago with Keanu Reeves in it, what was it, Constantine? If you think about the whole fallen angels thing kind of story that had, but if that film was shit basically, but this game has that whole fallen angels story, but it just wipes the floor with Constantine, let me put it that way. It also has influences from other religions like Buddhism and Hinduism. You can hear that in the music and some of the references and stuff. You can see it in the graphics sometimes as well, especially in certain levels. And so the story basically is the fallen angels have basically gone down to earth and have corrupted mankind, and God's plan is to kind of wipe the slate clean because sin has corrupted man, and they're going to wipe the slate clean by creating a massive flood upon the earth. Obviously the old flood myths from that used to, like Noah's Ark and stuff like that. And So it's your job to, as Enoch, to go in and kind of defeat the fallen angels and wipe away sin from the earth, and so God doesn't have to cleanse the earth by creating a massive flood. And you'll come across many characters and many familiar names like the angel Gabriel, Lucifer, which is Lucifer basically, and again Enoch, and just loads of other names in there that you won't necessarily be able to know where they're from unless you know the Old Testament and all the ancient myths and stories and stuff. But you might recognise all of the names. I recognise a lot of the names, but can't necessarily put those names to a specific story or stuff. Even though I do know a lot of the stories and stuff, just can't place all the names to them. That's all. So yeah, it's just I'd say this game is just, if you love platformers, you have to play this game. This is a must-have. To say that Japanese developers forget the whole trying to go Western stuff. If you do stuff like this is what we as Westerners want to play. Just a brilliant game. I highly recommend this game. And what I'm going to do is just leave you some gameplay footage on the end of this video that pretty much sums up what you can expect from this game.
Yeah, we're in the darkness. Looks like his feelings are the real deal. He might actually have a chance. I'll be in touch if I can get a signal.